Alright, Theo, my man. I guess I'll start by introducing myself this time since I forgot last time. My name's Cody. I'm nothing more than a bastard and heathen from Florida, and I've decided to be a writer, so I started going by C.A. Griggs, if that matters. Probably fucking doesn't, but you know, might as well. And I started making videos, and I gotta be honest, I went back to some of your early ones because I like your solo podcasts, because there's something about you being willing to sit down and confront your memories and your beliefs and your struggles. And I listened to your 12th podcast, and you talked a little bit about your dad in there, about how old he was, and there was one phrase that you had said, my man. It was that your father, you have this memory, and I might be wrong here, man. I don't know how fuck. Alright. You talked about how you remember him asking if he failed you or anything like that, and you told him no just because you knew he didn't have long in this world. And you didn't think putting the weight onto his shoulders for something you felt like you could survive was worth it. I reinterpreted that a little bit. But when you said that, it connected. It hit something very, very deep within me. My father died when I was a freshman in high school. I think I was like 14 or 15. He was a quiet man. He was born in 57, and I was his first son, and I was born in 98, so he was a little up there in age. He was a carpenter, a roofer. He did all that. He had really bad COPD, and my whole childhood, a lot of my memories are of trying to live in a way that my father would never know that I was actually suffering, because my childhood was any different from another's. To the point to where I don't have any home videos of this man. I don't have any recordings. I don't have any voicemails. I have nothing to remember his name. But I distinctly remember these talks we would have when he would be, you know, pretty sick. He was, a lot of my elementary school and middle school childhood, I have memories of waking up in the middle of the night, rolling over on the floor, because that's where my bed was in the main. In real houses, they call it a family room. I don't know what it's called in a trailer, you know. But I slept on the floor right above the air vent over in the corner. And I have an innumerable amount of memories of EMTs coming in the middle of the night to take my dad to the hospital because his COPD was acting up, or there was a couple times where I believe he had OD'd because he was hooked on pain pills during that opioid most distinct memories is calls I would have after these events when he was in the hospital, of him basically asking if he is enough as a father, in that he would ask if I still loved him. And having to reassure your father at that age is not something that is easily done. And it's something that I forgot about as much until you mentioned it. I think a lot more about my mom because I had such a turbulent history with her, but one of my most distinct memories of my father is when he was in hospice. He was in a coma. He had called me the day before to tell me they moved him there. And I went to go see him, and when I got there, he was in a coma. I did not get a chance to say my final words to him and have any response. But I had this feeling in my heart where I had to tell this man who would keep fighting till he is nothing but skin and bones that he raised me well enough that I can survive. I know how to be a man, and I can survive. And I said this at 14 or 15. I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't know what it was like to be a man. And I haven't really had any mentors or role models since. I've found some in the very vague sense of finding people who I admire, but I can see the flaws and I can see where they react and all that. I do think of you as a role model, Theo. Even with all the flaws, I think of you as a role model. So, man, keep smiling and keep doing what you're doing. It helps people, and you've been helping me for years. I've just been too reluctant to speak. But I've decided now, I've decided to write, I've decided to start making YouTube videos because, man, why not? You know, you helped me get there, and I do appreciate it. I genuinely don't know what the fuck I am doing when it comes to these videos, but I'm just doing them because I can always learn to be better, but I can never learn to be better unless I at least start, because I will never know where I struggle and where I fail. And watching your early videos really helped me realize that I don't need permission from anyone in a state of authority to do what I'm doing now. So thank you, man. And I plan to keep sending these videos to you because I find you hilarious, and I want to talk to you, and I don't know, maybe this is my overinflated pride and ego speaking here, but I want to help you, man. You help so many people that I wonder if you ever actually let someone help you. Granted, I have no real document of authority. I'm a 27-year-old dumbass from Florida, but brother, sometimes all you gotta do is be willing to reach your hand out. So I'm gonna keep making videos, I'm gonna keep writing my book, I'm gonna keep struggling through school, I'm gonna keep doing everything that I can. So you keep putting one foot in front of the other and moving forward. I mean, there's some shit you do I don't agree with. I don't agree with your view on masturbation, for one. I don't see anything wrong with masturbating, but you know, to each their own. I've got some funny stories because there's some shit I never assumed you would ask. Like, I was listening to a solo one and you sent in some shit about, send in a little story about the first person to ever touch your wiener, you know? If I'm being honest, I forgot about this, but the first person that ever touched my wiener was technically a doctor. You know, because I had this time, because I was a dirty kid, and you know, I didn't really know how to wash right as a child. So when I was in elementary school, I almost lost the head of my dick because I had a hair wrapped around it, kind of like how you see those dogs that they lock outside with the little collar wrapped around their neck and it's cutting into the skin, or you see a fucking chain wrapped around a tree to the point to where it cuts through. And I had to have a doctor slowly peel a fucking hair about yay long around that little head part, you know, just fucking pulling off this fucking bloody string, man, bloody hair. Worst goddamn memory I have. Probably why I distrust doctors, but you know, I gotta thank you for that randomness, because I probably would have forgot that for a good minute. So man, fuck it. Enjoy your day. Smile. I love you, dude. Enjoy the sunrise.